Hello everyone, welcome to a live session with Okane. As usual, we will wait a few minutes before we start. Today's session will be about fundamentals, how to trade, how to use or avoid news trading, just a basic introduction to news trading. There will be more material coming on news trading in the future. Just a basic introduction. So let's wait a few moments for people to join. Be right back. If you're watching this offline, you can just scroll. If you're live, you can just wait a few minutes. When you join, please type in the chat, say hello, so I know you're there. So guys, please let me know in the chat to the side that you can see and hear me before we start. If it says that the session is not live, you can just press the screen. So we're going to talk about fundamentals. There were some news coming out today, and we can talk about that and look at the charts. Hey, so we have people starting to join now. That's good to see. So everyone, remember to just say hello in the chat, in the YouTube chat, please. Type in the YouTube chat that you're there so I can see you. So I'll be not looking at the Skype anymore. Hello guys, thanks for joining. Good to see you're here. I'm not going to take so much of your time today. Just a brief introduction because I'm going to cover news trading further in the future. So I'm going to just repeat. Today's session is going to be about how to use or avoid news trading. Just an introduction to fundamentals. For some of you maybe who are not familiar with news trading, it's a good start. And we will have more advanced news trading videos in the future, how to avoid it exactly, like my rules. I've written an article about it. It was going to be published, and then after that I'm going to cover it in a video as well. But today let's just have an introduction to news trading, whether you should avoid it or not. Hello. Thanks for joining. So people are joining. For those of you who are watching this offline and you're not watching this live at the moment, it was broadcasted. You can scroll. You can, fast forward if you jump a few minutes. Skip to where I start. I will type that in the comments below later. You can how many minutes you should skip. But if you're watching this live, please just let's wait one more minute before we start so everyone gets a chance to join. Hello Milos. I know some people can't watch this live and they will be watching later. when they get the chance. So the material will be in the YouTube on the YouTube channel as well, and I will put on links for necessary articles you should read about fundamentals. So I will put those on the video and in the description below later on. Hey all, thanks to see and good to see so many of you, and thanks for commenting in the chat so I can know you're there. And if you have any questions at any time, please type them there. I can see every comment clearly. And remember, you can change the quality of the video. You can change to 720p so you can watch in HD for a better chart. Okay, then I think we have plenty of people here to start rolling, so I will just start. Okay, we're going to talk about how to use or avoid news trading. Just a brief introduction to fundamentals. We're not going to go into too much deeper in this subject at this moment because I'm going to do further videos, and I have an upcoming article about what a list I have made that you should follow so you know how you can avoid and how you can jump back in trading after news, because many people ask me that. Okay, all. So remember, just type your questions as soon as you don't understand something, just let me know. So the first thing I would like to discuss is the news. So let me show you that. So where do you look for the news? That's the first subject I want to discuss. So as you can see here, you will see this in a moment. I know there is a brief delay, but so what you will see is the forexfactory.com website. Does everyone see it yet? Questions as soon as you don't understand. Okay, so forexfactory.com, when you go to the page, and the first thing, as you can see, there's a long list here, so a lot of things, and you don't need all of that. So the first thing I would like to do is to go and change the time. So set the time to your preferred location. So for example, I'm using the European time, and you can have the summertime adjustment and winter time, and I like the 24-hour settings. And after that you go to the calendar. One more thing, I had the okay, so you go back to the calendar, and now you have to adjust the filter. Okay, so there's a filter up here. It says filter, so you click there, and here you have 4 different impacts. So high impact, expected, medium impact, expected for the orange, and the yellow one is low impact, and non-economic. So I usually look at high impact and medium impact, so you can unbook the 2 others, the yellow and the gray one. And then the next one is the types of events. I can just leave all of them check marked, and you go to the currencies. So here for the beginners, I think you should focus on only one asset. So in my case, for example, and today we're going to look at Euro USD. So obviously we need to have Euro and the US dollar, right? So these are the two pairs we wish to show. So apply filter, and then you see you have a cleaner chart. And also we will just look at the day, which we currently are at, which is today, May 12th. And here you see the news that came out today, except for this last one here. So everyone follow me for now? Everything okay? So I know there's a slight delay, so once your question comes, I might already have started talking about something else, but it doesn't matter. So just type your questions in the chat if you don't understand, and I will attend. And if your screen gets stuck, the picture gets stuck, just refresh the page. It usually helps. Just happened to me. You just click refresh F5 on your keyboard, and your picture should be back. And remember, you can watch this in high quality HD, so you can see the charts clearly. Alright guys, so now that we have the news, this is, by the way, something you should do every day. Okay, so before you start trading, when you open your MetaTrader or whatever the charting software you use, you should come here to your forexfactory.com calendar, and if you bookmark this, tomorrow when you come back you're gonna have the 13th, so it automatically will have you save your settings, and everything will be up to date, so you don't have to do all of this every day. So you fix the settings the first time, and then you bookmark it, and then when you click it, you can bookmark it like this, so when you have it for tomorrow, when you come here and check, so you have you have done everything correctly, you will see you have the tomorrow's date, Friday the 13th. So every day when you open your charts, don't just jump into a trade. Come here first, quickly check this out. Is there anything high impact coming out soon? So in this case today, now obviously I was a little bit late when I came here, so I didn't have time to make any trades, but if let's suppose I was here at 1300. At 1300 I have the chart here, and I will show you at the arrow here. So let's see if you see the chart. Okay, so the arrow is where the news came out today. Okay, so as I was saying, let's suppose it was at 100. Will I take a trade? No, because there was only 30 minutes left to news coming out. And you can see that news came out at exactly this hour. Now it might be a different time at your location. For me it was this location here. I haven't adjusted this to summertime. I see that's why it's a little bit off, but it doesn't matter. So regardless, at this hour the news was coming out. So the first thing I see is that it's high impact. So even if I don't know anything about news trading, it's enough that I know there's a high impact news coming out. So if my strategy says take a put option or a call option, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take the trade. So that's when you know to avoid trading. So about 30 minutes prior to a high impact or even a medium impact news, that's going to affect, that means it has the chance, a probability to affect the charts. So about half an hour prior to a news release, I'm not going to enter the trade. So I hope you follow me on this. So one more time quickly. First thing you do, when you open your charts, you don't go to your broker's account and start trading. The first thing you do, you come here. You come to your Forex Factory calendar, and you look for the next news that's going to come out. So in our case, if we go back in time a few hours and say the clock is 1300, in our case, the first thing we would have seen was that the impact is red. So a high impact, you can hover your mouse above it, it's going to say high impact expected. So even if you don't know how to trade the news, how to interpret that, you only knew the red flag should just be a good giveaway that in 30 minutes there will be or at this hour there will be a high impact news. So then you would know when there is 30 minutes left to the news coming, approximately half an hour, you will just simply avoid trading. You don't want to set an expiry 45 minutes from then, because then you're going to be in the middle of the news affecting your trade. So what your strategy is telling you might not actually work. So that's when you know how to avoid trading. And furthermore, you can click the details here. So let me show you that. So if we go back to the Forex Factory, you can click the details. I will show you one more time. Next to the numbers, it says open detail. So you click there and you will see previous values for the previous times this news came out. So this is really good for you beginners. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to come here. You can do this today or whenever you have time. Come here, look at the unemployment claims. This is one of the very important high impact news that comes every month. And it's about unemployment, obviously, in the US. So come here and study this. Okay, go to these different selected dates on your chart. Okay, so on your MetaTrader you find these dates and the hours. So if you would click one of them, you will see this one came out the same time, 21st of April, and it was green, so it was better for the US dollar. So you can go back and see what happened. Okay, so you can study this. Now let's focus on what happened today. We'll get back to this later. So what happened was that at the exact time the news came out, the numbers that was the actual numbers, the actual released numbers of the unemployment was 294,000. Okay, so that was the number for the unemployment. And the forecast, what experts or whoever believes, doesn't matter, what the forecast was 277. This forecast based on previous data, okay? So 277 was the forecast. And you can see the usual effect. The usual effect is what you should look for. It says actual less than, this means less than, so actual less than forecast. If actual is less than forecast, it's good for the currency. So what does this mean? It means that if the actual number that comes out here, this number, remember at the time this news was going to be released, there was nothing here, okay? So it was empty here. I hope that's clear to everyone, that there was nothing here. It was totally empty like this. So we had only the forecast number and we had nothing here. So this number came out exactly at 13:30 today. Okay, so there was nothing and then we got this number. And when this number, actual, if it was less than forecast, it would have been good for the US dollar. So who can tell me what would have happened if this number would have been smaller and it was good for the currency? Then obviously what would happen with Euro USD? It would go up or down. Any ideas? Any ideas as to what would have happened? No, we said if the number would have been good for the US dollar. If the number would have been good for the US dollar, exactly, it would go down. But it was bad for the dollar, right? It was bad for the dollar, and you can see that it went up. So exactly when the news came out, as you can see, it went up. So let me take that again, because I think some people got confused what I meant. Exactly. If the thing that was stated here, if that would have happened, if the actual was less than the forecast, you have to have this thinking process in your head. Okay, what happens if the unemployment is less than expected? So it's good for the country, right? When the unemployment is low, it's good for the economy, it's good for the US dollar. And it even says that. You don't have to come up with that on your own, but it says here that this is what it means. It means if the number is less than the forecast, it's good for the currency. And you can think that, yeah, it's obvious that if unemployment is less, then it's good for the US dollar. And what happens when it's good for the US dollar? So in this case, euro is the base pair, and the dollar is the second pair. So if the news is good for this, not for the base pair, not for the euro, then the dollar gets stronger. So it would have gone up. But in this case, it was bad. In this case, it was bad for the dollar. Unemployment was higher than expected, right? I hope everyone understands this. It was 294,000 instead of the 277 forecasted. So unemployment was higher, and that's why the euro went up instead. So euro USD, the pair, if you look at the charts again, see euro USD went up. It jumped up big time for almost, let's see here, yeah, for almost a couple hours, sorry, even more. Yeah, exactly 2 hours. 2 hours before it retraced back again. Okay, so is everyone okay so far? Did you understand? Or did I confuse you? It looks like everyone understood, because everyone said down. So you understood that if the numbers were good for the US dollar, the euro USD would drop. So it looks like everyone understands. But in this case, it went up because it was bad for the dollar. So everyone understands. Great. All right. And now, as a practice, I want you to go, even those of you who are watching this, offline, I mean on our channel after the broadcast, if you're watching this as a practice, and those of you who are watching now, please go to your forexfactory.com, bring up the unemployment claims, the history, as you can see, as I have done here, and go to each date. You can click it. For example, April 7th, you can just click it. And look at the time it was released. From what it seems, it comes at the same time. And then look at the effect. It's the same thing. Whenever the unemployment is less, then it's good for the currency, right? And then the forecast. Well, it depends what the forecast is. So look at the usual effect, just as a reminder, and then look at the forecast, look at the actual data, and then go locate this on your chart. Okay, then go to your chart, scroll back to that date, scroll back to that time, and see what happened. I want you to study that. Here you have an example from March 10th, and you can see that this time unemployment was less. So this, And here's the good thing. Can you see that Forex Factory helps you understanding which is good and which is bad by showing you green and red numbers? So if the numbers are red, you know it's bad. Red is bad, green is good. So in this case, you see actual less than forecast good for currency. Was it less? Yes, it's green. So you don't even have to look at the numbers. So even if you just understand colors, you will understand. Even if you don't understand numbers, you will know what this is about. And in this case, you see green numbers, and you can see it's less than the 272 expected on the forecast. So then in this case, EUR/USD should have dropped, right? So in this case, EUR/USD should have dropped. And we can go back and look. So March 10th, let's see here. March 10th is here. No, it's not at all. Wrong date. I know you can press enter. By the way, I can show you that you can press enter on your if you press enter on your chart, you will have a box open down below, so you can type the date. I'm not sure if you have to type. Let me just see here, and you type the date, it will take you there. Yeah, it did. It worked. So you type I got a question about if I would advise placing a larger trade up before today's news. We'll get to that. Let's not jump into conclusions yet. Let's take a look here. Okay, so I will answer your question soon. So let's just finish here. So here I found it. As I said, you press enter and then you type. For example, can you see this? It says 2016.03.10. So that's how you get to the place you wish quickly without need of scrolling back. It will take you there automatically. So here's when the news came out. And let's see what happened. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it just does the opposite. And that's, let's see, March 10. And it was good for the currency. So, okay. So as you can see, this time it did go up regardless, even though the news was good. Can anyone tell me why? We can actually see this because there was also a high impact Euro press conference at the same time. So this apparently had an impact that was so much higher that the unemployment didn't matter. You see, this is the problem with the news trading. Sometimes you have another news coming at the same time that's going to neutralize the effect of the other news. So you might have thought, oh great, it's good for the US dollar, euro, it's going to drop, and then it goes the other way. Or in this case, it looks like it did drop first, but then it bounced back because of the euro news. It retraced quickly, so it was a short window of drop when the news came out. You can see this here if we go to a lower time frame. It's clearer. You see the big drop when the news came out, and then boom, it went right back. So I want you to go back and look at these on your charts and locate those for yourselves and take a look and see what happened. And if you didn't get what you expected to happen, why was it so? Did you neglect something, like in this case this one and the other news that came before that. So go to each date and see what you can observe. How did the price react? And that's it. That's just good training for you. Okay, so to get to your question, let's go to today's date. Okay, so which news were you talking about? Okay, so you meant if I had traded this, you meant I should have taken a call. Well, as a news trader, you should also look at the difference between the forecast and the actual. Sometimes the difference is so small, or there is even no difference. Sometimes you get equal amounts. And you see this here, by the way, it doesn't give you red or green, it gives you the same. There's only, the difference is so small here and here. So in these scenarios, you might not get the expected jump or drop. You see this here? The numbers are equal. And sorry, I forgot to show you the Forex Factory when I was talking. I meant this, I meant the 257, 258. You see, it's not green, it's not red, because it's so close to the forecast, and here too. And in these scenarios, you might not get the expected drop or fall, because drop or jump up, because then the difference is so small. So I hope you understand that too, and that's why I want you to go through these charts. So go through these charts and look at the previous events and base your conclusion on that. And this is what you should do. If you want to trade the news, you need to do some studies. Go back and look what happened before and what else that affect the news. So in this case, we didn't have anything else, any other news prior, and the difference was quite large. It's even impacted in red. So in this case here, we could have traded this up. I think we also had a support at this point. Here's what was good with this trade today. We also had this line here. If you would look at it on the higher time frame, you see we had some support here, right? Can everyone see this? See what I'm talking about? We also had support here, and then price came down, and then when the news came out, you saw that it was good for the euro, so it was wise to take a trade. And you could also see, let's see here what the indicator would have said. Yeah, it was oversold on the hourly, on the 30-minute, on the 15-minute. So yeah, today's trade was a good one, actually. Today's news trade would have been a good one. So Sonny asked me, would I have, based on this news today, would I have taken a call if I had been here? And the answer is yes, actually, this would have been a good trade, because first of all, you have support. You have a strong support based on earlier analyzes, earlier price action. You can see this on the hourly, on the 4-hour, and several other time frames, and you see that stochastic is oversold, and then you have the numbers that are good for the euro and bad for the US dollar. So it would have been a nice maybe half-hour, even 15-minute trade, even hour for that matter. So did that answer your question, Sonny? And everyone else who are watching? So you see, I don't just base it on the news themselves. I also do the price action analysis to see if I would have wanted to take this trade. Are the forecasts generally right is a good question. I think news trading is a little bit based on the hype and the numbers, and you don't know, are they gonna jump in if it's the number says 267 instead of 265? And these are the things. That's why I told you that it's important that you go back and you look at the forecasts and see if they're right, why are they right? Because the number difference is this much, and if they're wrong, is because there was another news before it. And so I want you to go through this, and once you do that, you will see a pattern. Okay, you will see a pattern that sometimes the news is gonna last for the effect of the news might last for 30 minutes. Sometimes it's gonna last all day, or all week for that matter. So that's what I want you to go through to understand the patterns and the non-patterns for that matter. So you will see that sometimes this news doesn't make any sense. It should be going up, but it doesn't. So I want you to go through these. There are more. So it's not just the unemployment claims. There are much more, like non-farm payroll, for example. You can check that out. So you can just browse through the different days, different months, and look at a lot of other news coming out. For example, let's see here, what do we have? And you can look at the charts and observe that and make a list, see what work. Here you have non-employment, non-farm employment change, for example. This one is also good if you go through it. So go through these and look at those and see what changes did it do to the chart. So I hope that answers everyone's questions. And Milos had a question. Let's see. We get back to tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow around same hour. Tomorrow I'm gonna say that you should be very careful, because as you can see, there will be so many high impact news and even one medium impact coming at the same time. So it's going to be really hard to quickly see the values and see which one. For example, here if the actual is bigger, it's going to be good for the money, and here too, here too, here too, and so be careful. One might be, this is the hard part, because some traders might, the traders that move the market might like one number better than the other, and so if you're not an expert on that, you don't know, it's better you don't trade it. So you just simply half an hour before this comes out, don't trade. There's so many news coming at the same time. Unless everything is good, you might be in trouble. You might get a choppy price, goes up and down, because some traders react to this one while the others are trading, reacting to the other news. So that could be confusing and make the charts choppy. So I think that's enough for today, and the next time when my article comes out about news and how to avoid it, I will talk about, so now you know when you should avoid and what to look for when you're analyzing it, and that you should analyze the news before you trade, regardless of whether you're going to trade the news or not. Just so you understand there is news coming out, you should be careful. And the next time I'm going to talk about when the news, how do you know that the news effect is over, that you should jump into a trade? A lot of people ask that question. I'm going to give you a good answer on what to look for. I have made a list, as I said before. I've made a good list, checklist to what to look for exactly, so you know that it seems to be safe to enter the trade. And we'll talk about that next time when the article is out. I'll put some links in the description to other news articles we have that you can read, as well as my own. I have an article here. Let's see. it's obviously on binaryoptionsthatsuck.com. So I've explained this. I will link to this article below. Trade the fundamentals of Khan's way. If you go below, I have explained these, how to set your filter, you set your time, and I've explained what we talked about here, about the forecast. So you can read this here if you didn't follow, if you want to sit down in quiet and read. So I will link below, and I think that's it for now. Any questions? I think you guys had really good questions. Really love the questions, important questions, and good to see so many people engaging. So please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It really helps us a lot. And share it with your friends. And give me some feedback. Make a comment. So if you don't have any questions, I will just wrap it up, and I hope to see you soon in the Skype group, and have a nice week and nice weekend. Thanks guys, then I'm out.